We'll see if they can get it done today. To help us make sense of it all, we're going to bring in our good friend Jason Collette from DocTheRays.com. That's the two best Rays website guys on the planet in studio and on the show right now. Jason, what's shaking, my man?
Not much, guys. How you doing this morning?
Pretty good. Okay, we were just talking about this before we brought you in. B.J. Upton's name is being mentioned a lot in trade rumors. We're hearing basically every day somebody's after B.J. Upton. In your mind, do you trade B.J. Upton? Do you consider it?
I got to make a confession. My name is Jason, and I'm a B.J. Upton apologist. Like Tommy was saying, I was listening to you guys before the break. If the value comes along and somebody's willing to pay for him at value, yes. To trade him just to trade him, I don't consider that at all. I don't think that's. If you look back at some of the Rays, the moves the Rays have made in the past, where they've given up on a guy like that. Look at Pat Burrell. He's finally coming back to earth, but that didn't work out too well. Upton he is what he is. You can see flashes of brilliance. You can see times where you're just like, what the heck's going on? But I would hate to see the club give up on him just because the public's screaming for it. Because I'm in the minority. I know Tommy's in the same way. We're in the minority that we think he's as good as he is, and he's never going to be what people think he was after 2007.
Yeah, Jason, it's Tommy. And we've seen some of the rumors out here that, the latest one was B.J. Upton and possibly the Dodgers for James McDonald, and that would be the classic case of just dumping a guy similar to Yunel Escobar with the Braves, and that would be something you're just trying to get something in return. And I don't think the Rays are ever going to consider doing that with B.J. unless something just tragically goes wrong. But more than likely, we've talked off air, we've talked on the side, and your side, you've run a lot of stuff. More than likely, who do you see coming in? I mean, we've been talking Adam Dunn, Prince Fielder, all these guys, but we're more on the level of what the Rays are thinking. So, who's your guy that you really consider the guy coming in?
And I'd come down to two guys. I know you have talked heavily a lot about Luke Scott on D-Rays Bay. I want a right-handed bat. I'd love to see Josh Willingham here. Luke Scott does have the struggles against lefties. The Rays, the offense, the one-loss record is good against lefties, but the offensive production is not. I would prefer to see a right-handed bat, somebody that can come in and give the lineup a little more balance. I've always been a big Josh Willingham fan. And he's not the greatest defender, so just put him at DH and let him do his thing. That's Riley.
We were talking about if there's a Rays rumor leaked to the media and everyone starts kind of hearing about it, there's a good chance that the deal is probably dead. Is the trade that we see going to be something that just comes out of left field and no one really saw coming?
It always is. If you look, when Ben Zobrist got his extension, that was something that came out of left field. When Joaquin Benoit got his offseason contract, nobody except for D-Rays Bay really was talking about it at the time. If you hear something, that means the Rays are doing something else. They've already moved on from what you're hearing. It's the most secretive front office that I've seen in sports. You really get zero out of it.
Jason, we were talking about this off the air that, in football, there's generally not a lot of midseason trades. So, the rumors of trades really don't get out. Sometimes you hear it around, the draft. But in basketball, you hear trades constantly because the agents are involved. But in baseball, agents not so much involved in the transaction as much as one-on-one front offices. In basketball, it seems like there's a committee that's involved in a trade, where a lot of times in baseball, it's generally the general manager with true authority to make a deal, and maybe the manager of the team, but sometimes not even that. Is it because the Rays are such a compartmentalized organization that what you're hearing probably isn't what's going to happen?
I think that's part of it, and part of it, there's definitely a message that comes from above. Don't screw up our trade negotiations. Don't leak something out that somebody else might get a hold of and stuff. But with baseball, I think another avenue there is a lot of agents will use the media to drive a message. If you look at, there's a very nice relationship between Scott Boras and John Heyman of SI. If you look at what John Heyman is reporting, 90% of it are Scott Boras clients. So you see, that's one example of an agent driving a market. And just kind of watch John Heyman's reporting on MLB Network and on Twitter and such this week and see who he's talking about, especially with trades in the Yankees, because there's often where he's creating smoke, often there's a fire behind it.
Jason, all right, so switch gears. Let's go back on the field. We got Wade Davis going today. Joe Madden came out yesterday and said that, for the first time publicly, that Jeremy Hellickson is a possibility for this team later on in the year. The bullpen, just kind of go over those two guys. Wade Davis has been struggling recently. Hellickson is the stud prospect.
Yeah, with Wade Davis, the talent's there, but I don't think it's a complete package yet. He's really relying a lot on his fastball, and he's not able to throw his secondary pitches for strikes as often as a major league pitcher needs to. If you think about how many home runs James Shields has given up over the past month, Wade Davis has given up the exact same amount. The only difference is he's pitched against a little bit of easier schedule, so his 3.04 ERA over the last month is a lot less than the 6.07 that Shields has put up. So with Davis, the secret, all he has to do is throw first pitch strikes, stay ahead of the batters. Because when he falls behind, he really gets on that fastball, and his fastball is not the quality enough to just live off that like David Price does for time. Hellickson, that's the guy that can control all of his pitches. He throws 3 or 4 of them. Can throw them all for strikes, and he rarely gets himself into trouble. He's 12-3 down in AAA right now, leading the International League in ERA, leading them in strikeouts. It's a move that I would like to have seen made a month ago. I think the Rays have cost themselves a couple of wins over the last 4 to 6 weeks by letting Davis try to work through these struggles. And I don't think he's through them yet. I really hope that he doesn't revert back to the mess of June this afternoon.
He's Jason Collette. He's from docoftherays.com, one of the best Rays websites you're going to find anywhere. Jason, before we let you go, Tampa back 3 games on the Yankees, up 4 games on Boston. Got the trade deadline in a couple of days. Can this roster get it done without a trade?
No. There has to be another bat. It's nice to see that Pena has really come on strong in the last month, where he was struggling mightily in May and early June. But Pena's had a good month with run production, but there needs to be another thumping bat in the middle of the lineup. Over the last 30 days, Carlos Pena is the only guy that's hit more than 4 home runs. Carl Crawford's got 4. Carlos Pena has 5. Nobody else has more than 3. We need one more bat in the middle of the lineup. If you get that bat, you can win the AL East. If you don't get that bat, you're playing for the wild card.
Jason, who do you give up? Who's the guy that gets the deal done?
If I got to give up one, Wade Davis would be a nice guy. That's 6 years of control you can give up to somebody. If a club's willing to take a prospect, a guy like Matt Moore is one of the top prospects on the farm for the Rays. He's very hot right now. Baseball America just ranked him number 2 as far as hot prospects of late, and he's striking out everybody. So that's a guy to look for in some trade rumors this week. But you got to give up the pitcher somewhere.
He's Jason Collette, docoftherays.com. Jason, thanks so much, my man. Talk to you next week. We'll get the very latest on what did go down and what may happen with the non-waiver players, or the waiver players. So
sure.
Talk to you then, my man. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
There you go.